All right, can you hear me all right again? All right, thanks. Thanks for speaking on that. All right, hi, my name is Doiron. In real life, I work for the Museum of Modern Art, but I've done some volunteering with other projects, and this was kind of some crazy project I got involved in with One Laptop per Child. So I started working with this group, the Ministry of Education for the Republic of the Marshall Islands. So your first question is probably my first question, which is, where is that exactly? So Mesero Atoll is this island group way out in the Pacific. Like you go from California to Hawaii, and that distance out again, and you're there. So then you get there, and it's this little spaghetti string of land out in the middle of the Pacific. And it's this island paradise, and at the same time there's this bizarre thing of nature, which I don't really know enough about geology to tell you how this thing could exist, but it definitely does exist. And they sent me there because they had bought 1,000 One Laptop per Child laptops and put them at this very nice elementary school, Delop Elementary, where you can see the ocean, because it's such a small island, you can see the ocean everywhere, actually. And they had these laptops, they run Linux, and they wanted to know how we could do, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel on them, which we cannot. So instead we have these different alternatives, we do some teacher training, let the kids try them out. And it's really just, we set them up at a few different schools, and the kids really love them. And they're in English, but, especially with the younger kids, you want to have some stuff in their local language. So I had to read up a little bit on their local language, which is called Marshallese. And, let's see. So the thing about Marshallese language is that it has like this different alphabet that has been kind of developed over like the last 100 years, and then they revised it in the 80s. But anyway, so some words you could learn in Marshallese: Yakwe means hello. It's like aloha, but then there are a couple other phrases. Ijit amur is how are you doing? This is like all I know in the language. I tried. And Nunyap is a mythical creature that eats red snapper. I asked if it eats other fish, and that was like the dumbest question. And then this other word, conoblock. You'll notice it has a lot of commas underneath, like vowels and consonants and other letters. So, like, there's just all these different words which are very hard to encode. And so they would ask me, we want to do a quiz on these laptops where the kids will answer questions like, what are these different kinds of fruits, things like that. And the problem is everyone was getting the answers wrong, because there's actually two different ways to make each one of those letters. If you think about like how characters work, there's the letter plus the accent, and then they combine, and then there's just a combined one character letter. So people were always getting them wrong. So I had to come up with like a kind of string thing that would compare two of them, and then whichever answer they had would be correct, I would say was correct. And so these are all the letters in their alphabet. One of the issues that, as I mentioned, in the 80s or 90s, they had a linguist come over. They were using like the Nye, like the Spanish N with the tilde. And a linguist came and said, no, that's wrong. You should use one with the bar over it. So every letter they have an accent. There's actually a secondary letter that was okay up until the 80s, so we have to let the kids answer that one too. So there's actually 4 different ways you can type every single letter that has an accent in the Marshallese alphabet. And the way that this actually all comes together, this actually goes back to Unicode. So the thing about Unicode is it's kind of like our Rosetta Stone for computers. Like every character that can be written from our own alphabet to really essential emoji like kissing cat face is really just like encoded somewhere in this Unicode spec. And in yesterday's talk, someone talked about how time zones are this really fascinating, detailed, nerdy, political kind of thing that people talk about. And Unicode is very much that way as well. Like there are all sorts of conflicts. North Korea tried to get Kim Jong-il's name in there. They said no. That's why everyone in North Korea doesn't like us. But anyway, the Marshall Islands actually have what I call the Latvia Problem, if you can believe this, which is that some of their comma letters, they didn't tell Unicode to add them. Instead, they just kind of appropriated them from Latvian. And so there are actually little meetings going on, over the past few years, talking about should the Marshallese get their own letters and secede from Latvia. And it's just the sort of thing where they don't have people there really handling this, so it's something that you kind of look at and say, now I'm going to have to add other letters to this quiz, just because there's so many ways to type each letter now in the Marshallese alphabet. But anyway, so I started getting emails from them, like when I had to post things on the web. And they would have words like LXJILIGN, and I said, there's no way that's a Marshallese word. And it turned out they would just use a special font, Marshallese font, and letters they didn't use, like X and J, would be replaced with the Marshallese letter as long as everyone was using their font. But then, I would get it and it'd say, no, this isn't any good. So they weren't even using Unicode on their own, like internal stuff. They were using just a special font, which, I asked for it, and they said, oh, work on a Mac, I don't know. So really we have to find some different ways of putting these strange alphabets onto, or these unusual alphabets onto like the web and emails and kind of more compatible things. And Wikipedia has this problem too. Like, I'm just doing this with one place, but Wikipedia has to support every language ever existing, otherwise, someone would complain to them. So, it's a good place to look for, is there a solution to this problem that we're having? And so Wikipedia actually has some really good language tools if you dig around. And the one thing that I kind of latched onto is there's something called the jQuery IME, which is a jQuery plugin. And it, every time you go into a text area, there's a little drop down. Yeah, here it is. There's a little drop down, and it lets you select what language you'd like to type in. And some of them are completely different alphabets, and then this one is just a keyboard mapping, where it'll replace the same letters with the Marshallese Unicode letters, and then you'll be able to type on Wikipedia, or you actually can have this as a Chrome extension, so you could type anywhere on the web the way that they're familiar with their font, and actually be typing it in the appropriate, universal compatible Unicode system. And so I went up and I did a pull request, and if anyone here, I'm sure there are people here who haven't contributed to open source yet. It is a thrill, it is fascinating. I encourage you to try it. And it's just amazing feeling when you put in some commits up there into GitHub or something and they merge it into the system. So if you ever want to type in Marshallese, you can use this plugin. It actually works. And it was actually kind of difficult to send stuff up to GitHub because I was on a remote island. When you go to your ISP and you see something like this in your backyard, you go, oh no. Send all this stuff, up into space. They had a cable or something, but it was just really slow and expensive unless I was piggybacking on the Ministry of Education. And this is why get people on the internet if they're not on the internet yet? This is one region that's gone through a lot, like World War II, atomic bomb testing was done in marshlands. And now they're being confronted with global warming. This is something their culture is not just under threat, oh, they have television, reality TV now. It's their culture is under threat because their island could disappear, or other islands have already been irradiated. It's a real thing, and it's just one island that has this problem, but there's so many other countries I don't even know about that probably have similar problems. So it's probably worthwhile, it's definitely worthwhile to go out there into the world and find these places that want to get online, want their language to be shared, and make it compatible. Look at Unicode and try to get them together with more things. So yeah, thanks.